Like,
Yeah. It may seem like I've been hyperbolic, right? You know, when I say like, oh, dude, no, the Vatican's run by a bunch of gay boys and they're just all gay, and you know, of course they're trying to gaslight us and keep pushing this like woke narrative and all this stuff. So just to give you some context, this happened 10 years ago. Okay, this priest, I'm
Puede
gonna
ser.
let this one. This first one's in subtitles, so you want to read it, right? And then I will. All I'll say is there's some political stuff that's happening in the background. And if you guys have questions, I can fill in more context. Basically, this is a Monsignor, right, which is an honorific title that's given to a particular priest, right? Um, he's a priest that worked at the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith. Okay. If you don't know what that is, it's the dogmatic, um, quote unquote, institute of the church. In other words, it's also known as the Inquisition in like medieval times. So it's gone under like a few named quote unquote changes because they've tried to like Vatican two eyes and make it sound less harsh. But basically, the doctrinal or the dogmatic congregation of the church has always been this institute or dicastery is what they call it now. So this is like the Pope's own kind of congregation for dogmatic. Like if the Pope's gonna write something like an encyclical or something, it always goes to this office. Just so you guys know.
yeah, potato walking.
This first one has subtitles because he's gonna talk in Polish. Oh shit.
Oj, tag fight.
Nazywam się Krzysztof Charamsa.
These are his
Ksiądz
people.
prałat Krzysztof Charamsa. Jestem funkcjonariuszem Kongregacji Nauki Wiary, byłej Świętej Inkwizycji. Jestem drugim sekretarzem Międzynarodowej Komisji Teologicznej. Jestem teologiem, filozofem, zajmuję się też bioetyką.
Is he gay?
Wykładam na Papieskim
Look
Uniwersytecie
at this.
Gregoriańskim i na Papieskim Ateneum Regina Apostolorum w Rzymie. Jestem gejem.
It's crazy.
Pomyślałem o waszym filmie, artykuł 18 naszej konstytucji.
What
bo,
the hell?
You didn't know
kocham
this.
nasz naród, naszą ojczyznę. Jestem patriotą. Jestem zatroskana na nasz wspólny dom. Gdy
He actually explains.
Like, where is this guy from?
He's getting it.
France
może
or
sobie
something?
ubliżać
He must be
osobom
French.
homoseksualnym bezkarnie.
He's Polish, man.
Bezkarnie.
That's pretty bad.
So here's
Here's
what
one of-
happened, okay? In Poland, right? They were passing like some like I actually forgot what it was. Like it had I don't know if it was like gay marriage bill or something like that. Um and there was another priest that was lobbying for it as well named Father Oko or something, and he's going to name him in this video, right? And so part of his activism and coming out as quote unquote gay was in response to what was happening in Poland at the time. Like we can look it up after, like what the actual like this article
Did he get kicked
1897 came
out?
out. What's that?
Is he pro gay marriage?
But look at how vindictive that he gets, right? Like, so his standpoint is that he sees it as like an attack on homosexual people, and like how in Poland they're being homophobic and they're doing it with complete impunity. But this is the kind of word that
It
is
says he was removed from the priesthood.
right.
though.
We'll get there.
So, I mean,
No, he tries.
Mu
That's
się nie wyłącza mikrofonu.
there's
think
more
we're
to
good.
that. There's
yeah,
more
yeah,
to
there's
that.
more to this stress.
Gdy ktoś może objeżdżać sobie, jak ksiądz Oko, mój kraj, ze swoim teatrem absurdów, demagogii, ideologii i robić to bezkarnie. Gdy ktoś, kto
This guy
został
has the spirit
prezydentem
of
tego
Satan.
kraju, może sobie pozwalać na insynuacje o jakichś niewłaściwych strojach mojej grupy społecznej i następnego dnia nie przeprosić za swoje słowa. Bezkarnie. Gdy poprzedni prezydent przez 5 lat nie spotyka rodzin homoseksualnych nawet na pół godziny, by spojrzeć im w oczy, bezkarnie ignorując
the hell, dude.
tych, dla których
He's gonna drop all that
ustanowiony
gay stuff when the Russians come knocking.
Look, Trez, look, here it comes. Get ready.
Gdy Kościół milczy, podle, ohydnie milczy, gdy Dominik z Bieżunia odbiera sobie życie. Bo nie może wytrzymać homofobii, nienawiści.
It's a crisis actor.
Virgin, are you watching?
Kościół wtedy milczy
Alright, except for this, Trez, here it comes.
i legalistycznie zostawia wszystko jakieś tam prokuraturze. Gdy Kościół, który ma być autorytetem moralnym, wtedy milczy, to znaczy, że dotknęliśmy przestworze kryzysu, obłudy, fałszu, nieczułości. Gdzie jest nasza Ewangelia?
Alright, here it comes. Oh, wait. What the fuck? Oh, it was a separate video?
Yep.
Dude, that guy
Oh, here it is.
really
Here it is,
wants
priest
to
has
Trez.
been removed from a Vatican post after
Stop!
telling a
That's
newspaper
crazy.
What the hell did he just
Right,
do
did you
there?
see
Kristoff
that?
Charamsa says it's
No.
time for the Catholic Church to open its eyes and change its stance on homosexuality. It comes as bishops arrive in Rome for a synod. Homosexuality is expected to be on the agenda.
Io ho fatto coming out. Questa è
My decision to come out is a very personal decision, he says, in the homophobic world of the Catholic Church. It's been very difficult and very hard. I ask that you keep in mind this reality that is difficult to understand for anyone who's not lived through an identical passage in their own life, he says.
un tale passaggio della propria vita.
Charamsa and gay activists had planned a demonstration outside the Vatican, but changed the venue
saw that,
hours
Virgin.
before. The Vatican says the priest's dismissal has nothing to do with the comments about his personal situation, but it also says that giving the interview
High
and planning a
five.
demonstration was grave and irresponsible.
So notice, the Vatican did, as soon as he came out, right? Of course, they removed him from his post. Because, it's a quote-unquote breaking of his vow of celibacy. Charamsa's not stupid. He worked at the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. So, he already knew what was going to happen. But he did it in a way where he tried to make a public thing out of it, right? So he's causing scandal. And notice how the Vatican, what they're saying is that it wasn't because he's gay that they let him go. It was literally because, we see, right? The Vatican says the priest dismissal has nothing to do
Comments about his
with the
personal
comments about his
situation.
personal situation, right? It wasn't because he came out. It was because he did it in a public way and gave an interview about it.
Of course.
Here, show the one where he talks about
That's
how
an
there's a
extra
bunch
sin.
of gay. Here it is.
That's an extra sin specifically towards the institution of
No,
the
but
Catholic Church.
just to be clear though, Trez, the Vatican specifically stated it wasn't because he made comments about his own personal situation. So it wasn't, they didn't let him go because he came out as gay. The question
And he was
is,
being gay. He was being so
Like-
gay.
no,
Trez.
Trez, the question, the issue is can you be gay and also a priest in the Catholic Church?
Yeah, but in public being gay. You don't have to present as a gay man, even if you are gay.
So you think it's
So of course-
okay for priests to be gay? Or for,
I mean,
for
if
gay
that's-
people to become priests?
I
Trez,
think
what if they're
everyone has a
celibate?
cross to carry. That's what I think. Yeah. And if that's their cross, as long as they're carrying it, then yeah, they can be a priest.
Yeah,
What if they're
I'm against that
celibate?
position.
You think that specific cross is unacceptable for a priest?
No,
A
I
priest?
don't think. I think
Can't have
if you're gay, then homosexuality is not commensurate with being a priest in the Catholic Church. So that's something that should be taught. And if there are currently gay priests and gay gay priests and bishops within the Catholic Church, they need to be encouraged to leave.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, they should have second thoughts, triple doubt about something like that, for sure.
But I think that is official church teaching that homosexuality is not commensurate with the priestly ordination. So
I think homosexuality is
Hello.
actually.
hold on, Ataraxia. We're going through some videos.
Okay.
But you can join
my
us. You can join
bad.
us. You
I'm
can patch in and
sorry.
join us. All right. In
Here,
his
Trez, look,
own
check this out. Check
words.
this out. I think this is the one.
Oh my God.
I am happy gay priest, and I can say it with transparency, with all my truth, without this horrible
Turn it up.
lying of my church of Vatican. And in Vatican,
I tried.
I think that
It's at the
the
max.
I
first
mean,
reaction
is
was
mentally
panic,
ill
panic
being
and
mentally ill a
automatic
choice? Of
Grudgin,
course,
look.
it's not a sin.
of this man. In one moment, I was
Anorexia, we're good to that point.
was out from Vatican.
Look, this is what Abismo thought would go back 10 seconds.
Happy gay priest, and I can
No, we'll get to that.
say it with transparency, with all my truth, without
I mean,
this
being
horrible lying of my church of
homosexual
Vatican.
doesn't mean.
And in Vatican, I think that the first
Oh.
reaction was
Dude, I'm gonna have to watch this video
panic
again.
and
Okay,
It
hold
is
on, hold
on.
on.
dysfunctional.
Yo,
There was-
Ataraxia, we're kind of in the
It's
middle
societal
of.
and cultural dysfunction.
Ataraxia.
You can join the stream if you want to watch with us, Ataraxia, but we're kind of going through something right now.
Talking about something. Okay,
It creates a dysfunctional society to let these gays. run
Ataraxia, are you
around.
drunk right now?
no, I wish I was, but I didn't have much sleep.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why-
Yeah,
I mean, I
Alright,
do wish I was drunk, but I would like to drink.
Alright, we're kind of going through some stuff. Alright, here we go.
say it with transparency, with all my
I might
truth,
get some vodka actually.
without this
Without
horrible
this.
lying of my church of Vatican. And in Vatican, I think that the first reaction was panic and automatic elimination of this man.
It's the
in
Irish
one
influence, to
moment,
be honest.
I was out from Vatican.
Oh, good. They kicked him out.
Well, here's the part I think it's the next one.
One down, 200,000 to go.
Homophobia, it's a very special kind of homophobia in Catholic Church, because many of priests, many of bishops, many persons in Catholic clergy are gays, are homosexual people, with sensitivity. Of
You hear
course,
that,
for
Trez?
homosexuality,
Potato.
but they must hate themselves.
Do you understand now?
You know,
When you actually go to Rome and you like meet these people, yeah, dude. It's a lot of
what
gay people
happens
that
in
are actually
Rome
running Rome.
stays in Rome.
This is like a known fact. This is like so known. This is like a day and night.
Italy was gay, yes.
It's possible that gay lobby exists.
Dude, this is crazy.
I have no experience.
Look, he says that there's a gay
This
lobby.
group of this closet, but in the church, we don't.
Yeah, we know Europe is gay as fuck.
We know who is not, but
Yeah, Europe is pretty gay.
They know who is and who isn't.
sexuality. About gays, you can only do jokes.
Ooh.
So the thing is what he's saying. So he's obviously advocating to normalize it, right? He wants to normalize homosexual, clergy, because
He
right
wants a
now,
Vatican III.
even though they know who's gay, it's like a don't ask, don't tell policy, right? And
Yeah.
he's saying that it causes him so much pain, all the homophobia. Why are we not allowed to be ourselves and express ourselves as a gay priest? I mean, so Trez, getting back to your earlier comment, right, where you're like, yo, if it's their cross to bear, And sure, you can have a priest who's also gay if it's across the barrier and they're trying to be the best priest that they can, all this stuff. But does this sound like, because of his quote unquote objectively disordered inclinations, again, that's church teaching, right? Does this sound like he's having an okay time, Trez? If he has to try to
This weird gay
normalize
guy.
that
Of course not.
he feels
Nobody agrees with
attacked,
Trez.
he
Whether he
feels
should be a priest or not is the question.
he
Well,
feels
Trez,
everybody's
the thing.
homophobic. Sorry, go ahead.
Of course, this
Well,
specific
yeah,
guy
yeah.
should not be a priest if he's having butt sex with people.
Well, that's not the
course.
bigger. I think it's not
It's
just about the
butt
gays.
stuff. He's playing with people's butts, dude. That's
Well,
not.
that's not the only thing. Like, let's say even if he was celibate, right? Because I don't really know. This guy's like full fucking what he's doing in his personal life. The idea, though, is like that if you have a bunch of dudes like this, that they gain some type
Probably
of
got caught, to be
political,
honest.
like, let's say
dude,
there's some political momentum
that's
within
like
the
that.
church, and then these dudes
Trez, no,
become
no, no.
majority, like in the
Yeah.
as cardinals and the bishops, and then now they're in charge of electing like the new pope, right? And like you have all of these different pope candidates, of varying like political or theological positions. They're gonna be, I think, it wouldn't be too crazy to assume that these people would gravitate towards like the more liberal, the more progressive pope candidate that would make a new fucking set of decisions to inherently compromise like the church teachings or like the compromise like the church position over time. That is like the greater danger, I think.
Yeah, of course.
What
Of course
I'm
the
saying is
church
that
should never be scandalized.
I'm sure
I
this is
agree.
a nice guy, right? That's the thing. Like Kristoff Charamsa, like he's
I
good
don't
looking.
know.
You know what I mean? He looks like a GQ model. You know what I mean? If you met him in
Well,
friend, he'd
Satan
probably be
appears
very
as an angel of
friendly
light.
and all this stuff. But it's about him as a homosexual. He's a self-identifying homosexual. Okay, but his life as a priest, even though he says he's a happy priest, he seems like the role itself is what causes him pain. Do you get where I'm getting at with this, Trez?
Yeah.
Because
he's like holding
the
his
teaching,
head,
no. Think about it
sitting on
this,
the
yo.
ground,
So what he's
looking like shit.
actively, Trez, can you seriously? What the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Wait, Avisma, tell him, just tell him.
Like,
What? I'm
Yeah,
listening.
Trez.
so like, no. Think
Look,
about it
this
like
guy's
this,
Trez.
okay?
Guy's gay, and I'm glad he got kicked out. Fuck.
No, but he is a self-identifying, emotionally well-adjusted. I mean, dare I say? I mean, for all intents and purposes, he's just gated. But he's in a
He's
role.
so gay.
But he's in a role of authority, right? As both a priest and also, quote unquote, part of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. And you'll see what he'll tell you. He'll tell us what his actual position was there. Where the Catholic Church teaching on homosexuality is that it is objectively disordered, right? So he's already done all the moral theology. He understands what the church teaches, yet he finds it somehow unfair and homophobic, the way that the church approaches homosexuality. But does that mean that the church's teaching is on homosexuality is wrong, just because it makes him feel a particular way as a gay priest? But the question is like, if he feels this way as a gay priest, with the responsibility of upholding church teaching, is it right for him as a homosexual individual, to be a priest?
Yeah, that would be like me not like admitting I have a man.
You get where I'm getting at, Trez?
Like,
I think this is an undue burden on someone
that's
who is a
why we kick him
homosexual
out of our
to
church.
ordain them as a priest and to function as one. I think it's burdensome for them.
Ordination. Was he ordained as gay, or did he become gay later?
That's
He was
that's
ordained as
irrespective.
gay, dude.
No, that's important.
No. I mean, it could be
He
the
was
case that
ordained as
nobody,
gay.
like they're just naive and they're kind and they're nice and they don't
Maybe
even know
he
that they're
came
gay,
out
and then they
after
become
he
a
got
priest.
publicity.
What does that matter? As soon as once in their conscience they go, oh, I'm gay, like, and I know I'm gay and I can't stop these inclinations. Well, I mean, if the church teaching should
Yeah,
be,
that's a
well, you should
process. That's not
you
a single
should.
moment.
That's fine. That's fine if it's a
A series
process.
of actions. Yeah.
That's fine if it's a process. We're not looking for a definitive. No one asked about that. But the church should teach that, well, in that case, you need to leave. Yeah?
Yeah, of course. And they did.
But
They
it
kicked him out.
doesn't.
No,
Yeah,
but
they
No,
did.
no,
no,
He
the
did
big
the
leave.
wait,
reason the
Trez,
That's
reason
the
what
that
they said.
cemetery,
They said you need to leave.
Okay, here,
That's what
Abismo, go
happened.
back,
Trez,
go
you're
back
just
like 15
dense.
seconds.
You're not hearing our
We
point.
kicked him out. We did it. Come on,
Go,
man.
They
go
didn't
back
kick him
Disgusting,
out.
where,
Trez. You're
The
disgusting.
reason that they gave was not because his personal comments on his personal
Well,
situation.
of course, we're
It
gonna
had to
say it
do
all
with the fact
nice,
that he
right, for
did
the
it in an
public.
activist way, right?
Yeah.
There's a clear distinction there.
Yeah, is that dogmatic, or did they just say that, so it doesn't look so bad? Like
Well,
they just kicked him out, and that's the bottom line is they actually kicked him out.
About gays, you can only
it's like
Trez,
a
it shows a
don't ask,
weakness.
it's like a don't ask, don't
Dogma.
tell policy.
Trez, this shows actual weakness for the church.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree
the
with
issue that we're dealing with right now. Is a weak church at the moment.
there are not only rumors.
Yeah.
We have knowledge about homosexuality in the Catholic Church, of popes, of cardinals, of priests, and so clear. We have
This guy
not
is so gay, dude.
expression, declaration.
He's even gayer than me.
dude, it's stop putting it all on just him to try to dismiss the issue. It's not just him. A
It
lot of
is.
priests, cardinals, bishops, including popes, have been gay.
Oh.
Well, let me see.
Okay, well, we're going to
Gay,
go
yeah.
back. Okay.
So
There's absolutely no way
there are not only
Gay
rumors. We have knowledge about
I
homosexuality
don't even
in
know.
the Catholic Church.
Did you get what he's saying?
Which pope
They're
is
not
gay?
just rumors, right? They already know who all the gay priests and gay bishops and cardinals and including popes were.
Of popes, of cardinals, of priests, and so clear. We have not expression, declaration
nice.
of homosexuality. That's
The gay
impossible.
part.
Coming out in the
France.
church is impossible. So my act, my decision, is something impossible. Something what destroy our code of silence.
I don't know. I just assume there was a gay pope, and that's just news to me, man. I mean, I'm from India.
Did you hear his last sentence? Here.
Yeah,
Out
say
in
the
the
last
church
part.
is impossible. So my act, my decision is something impossible, something what destroy our code of silence.
This guy is the
You hear
gayest
that?
guy.
There. Look. Go back to that. Because the thing here is like, his position. This what separates this guy. Why he got kicked out, Trez, is because he broke his code of silence. Meaning,
That's
like,
BS.
you could almost. Well, I don't know. I think like what he's saying is you could, that there's like maybe not a fraternity of gay, priests, but something to this effect. Yeah.
So Trez, go ahead.
Oh yeah, there's definitely
that was
another
it.
gay guy in there.
Trez,
if they're gonna
here's what I'll say. When it comes to church doctrine and theology, I'm gonna trust this guy over you. Do you know why? Because he worked at the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith. He taught at the Pontifical Gregorian University as a professor. He was the second secretary of the Theological Commission. Like, I know this guy knows his stuff, right? He has the requisite church license to
right,
teach.
exactly.
He has the
This guy hates
imprimatur,
himself.
right? What I'm saying is that I know that he knows what the church teaching is. So as far as like church doctrine goes, he's my superior. Morally speaking, ethically speaking, he's gay, right? And so we could talk about whether he should be a gay priest or not, but I can respect him, as being a quote unquote child of the church. You see what I mean? And at one point a leader of the church. That's what I'm saying.
He's
Wait, what the
defrocked.
fuck?
But
What the
the-
fuck is this guy's name?
He's not my superior.
But I'm not gonna disrespect him like you are, Trez. Where you just
He's
keep going.
defrocked.
No, but
He's
you
not a
keep
priest.
going after him as just being a gay person. That's not his whole
He
identity.
is. He's
But the
not a
issue
priest
is,
anymore.
but the issue
I
is
don't
it
have to
healthy
respect
for
him.
him who identifies as a gay person to make it his identity or make it a pain point in his, active ministry? Which what I'm trying to get at, Trez, is that that's kind of what happens because being gay is incommensurate with the priesthood. So we shouldn't allow gay people to become priests.
It harms them, dude.
Okay, I mean, I guess.
I am free. Now I am
that's what
happy.
you guys want to do, you know.
Now I am transparent.
Look at what he's
Now-
saying. Now that he's out and he came
Do
out,
that.
he says that he's happier than he's ever been.
I am
He gets
free.
to embrace his own
Now
will
I
and
am
find his
happy.
life.
Now
Damn.
I am transparent.
Ew, so bad,
And
dude.
I can say
Now I
that
get to be gay all I want, guys.
I feel that I'm good
It's
priest.
horrible. He loves his sin. That's what I'm
I
saying.
have
You would
nothing
listen to this guy, really?
to
Makes
to,
sense.
to hide.
So
It's the
you
spirit
say
of
in your
Satan
letter
that
to
makes
the
you hate the
Pope
Pope.
that the clergy is
Trez, are you listening to this?
Yeah.
All right.
full of homosexuals. Is that really the case?
I know many persons who work in Vatican.
Pope.
You
Are
replay
the
that
clergy-
shit.
Nothing
Replay this.
to,
Trez, listen.
to hide.
So you
Yeah, I'm
say
here,
in your
watching
letter to the Pope
the
that
video.
the clergy is full of homosexuals. Is that really the
yeah,
case?
yeah.
I
Later.
know many persons who
Dude, solo
work
level.
in Vatican and are gays. I know it.
Okay.
You must hate it. You must hide it. It's a problem of irrational, homophobic violence of the church. This is the problem of hypocrisy.
The Vatican would say that you broke your vow and you, when you became a priest, took a vow of celibacy.
I say that I have not broke celibacy the greater part of my life.
Now listen to
Our
this.
sacrifice of celibacy is sacrifice of marriage and family with women. I'm not created for marriage with women. I love women. My
heard that?
mother is the
Hold on.
first woman in my life, but my nature for my relationship of love is nature
this
of
cope
homosexual
right now.
person.
Insane.
Do you expect
Do you understand what he's saying, Trez? Like, and how he says it? When she
Sure.
asked him about celibacy and whether he broke his code of celibacy, his answer is not that he didn't, but when it comes, he says, in the greater definition of celibacy for him, and again, he not only taught at the Pontifical Gregorian University, he's also he was also part of the Theological Commission. He says that according to him, celibacy only applies to those who are in the married life or who are supposed to be married to a woman, right? So he's saying, basically what he's saying, Chris, is that he believes that the greater meaning of celibacy is that it only applies to heterosexual people and not gay people.
Damn.
Because he, as a gay person, is not made for a life with a woman, homosexual love, or a sexual love with a woman. He's made for homosexual love. So notice how he doesn't outright come out and say, no, I did maintain celibacy. The fact of the matter is he had a boyfriend the whole freaking time that he was working there.
It's crazy.
He only came out that he had a freaking boyfriend when he decided to come out publicly about it.
Yeah, but they probably found out about it privately, and then that's why they kicked him out.
No, they
Dude,
kicked
why
him
are
out
you making-
precisely because he came
gosh.
out.
That's Hitchens' razor. That's the most obvious answer.
No, that's not
they
Hitchens'
kicked him out
razor.
'cause-
You're making an argument from silence, Trez.
Trez, you're not
you're
watching the video, are you?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I just don't like to listen
Trez.
to gay guys.
Trez, you're just
Trez,
coping.
pay them.
This is crazy.
I don't pay them
Trez,
intellectual assent.
Trez. When did they kick him out of the priesthood? What happened? During that time?
Well, I've read on Wikipedia that they kicked him out. 'Cause he's
When
gay.
they kicked him out.
What
live.
also happened at the same time?
What do you mean? Make your point. What do you mean? Okay, so
What
so y'all-
happened?
So your point is that there's a cabal of gay guys in the Vatican, and they're teaching ordinary magisterium that it's okay to be gay. Is that what you guys are saying?
Trez, what
The
we're
fuck?
saying,
He's missing
he
the
said
point.
it himself. He said what he got kicked out for was for violating their quote unquote code of silence.
At this point, Abysmal, you
I
might
wish
have
you
to
guys would get
replay
to
the
your
video. Hold on, Abysmal, you have to probably replay the video. Have Trez read
Just make your
the
point. Oh my
subtitle.
god.
No. At this point, Trez, you gonna have to read out loud the subtitles that we're watching because you're not watching the video.
I mean, I'd rather
I mean,
you guys make a
like
point.
in the greater sphere, this is part of the problem. It's not just the gays in the church, but it's also the heterosexual Catholics in the church who choose to turn a blind eye and recognize the reality for what it is. That's what you're demonstrating, Trez.
Okay.
It's like
It's also
we're not afraid. Real Catholics are not afraid of the truth.
There's other two possibilities. He's either not watching the video or he's like high. So that's the other two possibilities of what's going on.
It could be both.
Yeah, it could be. You could be high and not watching the video.
I don't pay intellectual assent to gay people.
That's not what
Why
we're
would I
asking you to
listen
do.
somebody
Why do you
error?
keep?
Yeah, you are. You're making me listen to some
No
gay guy on
Trez, no
YouTube.
What?
Trez, no Trez. We're telling you that the institution of the Catholic Church, right, is being compromised by these
Okay,
individuals that have their own personal agenda. If this guy is legit, if he's saying that there are many other gay priests and bishops and even like had gay popes, this means like that there is some type of like a network perhaps of like these gay priests that are going to have like some type of progressive agenda, and they're going to try to kind of work together over maybe like perhaps change doctrines like that. And what he got penalized for, the reason he got kicked out is because he broke his code of silence, not because he was specifically gay or what have you.
Or
It's
even had a
because
boyfriend. He didn't get kicked out because he had a boyfriend either.
What we're saying is like that this is like a sort of like there's like like there's an attack on the institutions on like at a fundamental level, like there these like the hierarchy has been compromised by people like this, and he is specifically an outlier. Like that's why he got is being kicked out. He broke his code of silence. He's letting people know like the current state of like the Vatican.
Yeah. No,
Obviously he's activist, so he wants the church to be more open to gays and to normalize it. Just so you know, here's the background. His boyfriend that he came out in public when he tried to make a media spectacle about it, he was with that guy for like years, man. So even as part, right, of the, Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, while he was working there, he had a boyfriend. There's actually, Trez, the reality is there's a lot of priests at the Vatican who do have boyfriends. That's what I'm trying to get at you at. Like this, he's not an exceptional case. Like, and he's literally telling you to your face. There's a lot of. We already know who all the gay people are in the church. We just don't talk about it. And what he's telling you, as far as celibacy goes, he's working at the freaking Doctrine of the Faith, and he's telling you his meaning of celibacy is that it only applies to heterosexual union. So it doesn't apply to him because he's not made for marriage. That's what he's telling you.
Where did he teach?
Okay.
Pontifical Gregorian
Something.
The Pontifical Gregorian University. That is the university in Rome for quote-unquote seminarians around the world. It's basically, people look at it as like a bishop fast-track school. That's where they send all their, best prospective quote-unquote seminarians from each of the countries.
I mean,
right?
Yeah. I mean, of course, yeah, I know that. Yeah, there's gay guys there. Okay,
So we're gonna go over exactly what he says about celibacy. Okay.
Okay. I mean, of course, we got to be on guard against Satan all the time. I agree with that.
Hypocrisy.
The Vatican would say that you broke your vow, and you, when you became a priest, took a vow of celibacy.
I say that I have not broke celibacy the greater part of my life. Our sacrifice of celibacy is sacrifice of marriage and family with women. I'm not created for marriage with women. I love women. My mother is the first woman in my life. But my nature for my relationship of love is nature of homosexual person.
Do you expect to get a reply to your letter from the Pope?
My hope was that the Pope can read my letter, read and also understand my human drama in this institutional conflict, in this situation like the prison of my mind, of my heart, of my being priest, in this conflict, interior and exterior, and my hope is that he can understand something and do something in the synod. Pope opened the new time in the church, but he have no collaborators. In the congregation, we are in the truly war against Pope Francis. So we are not only homophobic office, we are Francis-phobic. We have really phobia of Francis. And we are acting in all this time against popes.
Are you telling me that the
This is coming from the
Congregation
gay,
of
by
the
the way.
Doctrine of the Faith
Trez.
is rebelling
This
against
gay
the Pope?
demon.
Yes. Congregation
It's
was,
manifesting.
for me, in this time, the agency of sabotage of pontificate of Pope Francis. This is sabotage of my boss. And this is my spiritual boss.
But the Vatican would say that you are the saboteur.
Oh. Not. I don't do any sabotage. This synod was destroyed by another forces before.
Ugh, I can't
So-
believe you guys made me sit through that bullshit.
Hold on, Trez.
Trez,
You guys owe me.
Trez.
You guys owe me big time.
Trez.
Trez,
Hold on. How is
do
it
you
bullshit?
recognize
You made me listen to a gay guy.
Trez, you recognize the danger. You recognize the war that's going on in the Vatican right now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. But there's always gonna be a war until Jesus comes back. But yeah, we should definitely be on guard against the forces.
Did you find anything like interesting, like something like popped out at you, and what he was saying?
I mean, it says the same things that any gay guy would say, or even any gay priest apologist in the Anglican Church or whatever. It's the same apologetic, to be honest. It's not surprising to me, and it didn't come out in any special way because it's retarded. So it's not. It's not special. It's fucking stupid.
They're never
Joining
based
us
though.
in
That's the
studio
weird
is
part.
Madeline.
God, man, I hate how it just fucking plays that bullshit like immediately.
Vizmo, how do
I
we
think
go
I
forward?
think we should
Jada?
cancel these people. I think we should stamp them out of existence.
Yeah,
Dude,
no,
why are you so
Trez,
being
that-
so disrespectful, dude?
He's defrocked. I don't have to.
Yeah,
be
but what is it?
respectful.
Why are you trying to advocate for
Dude,
violence?
Trez goes
This is
from one
crazy,
extreme to
dude.
another extreme.
Not violence. I'm not saying violence. I said cancel, right? So, social media silencing, right? And I think
Bruh.
talking about it is like
Dude, Trez, can we just stick
feeding
to just
into. I don't
kicking
think
them
we should
out?
feed into
Can
this.
we, Trez, can we just at this point just kick them out of the priesthood?
Yeah, I think that is what would be called for. Is ideally, I don't even know what this would look like, but you would identify all of his gay network, and then you just fucking kick them out. That's what you
The
do,
gay
bro.
mafia.
Yeah, kick them all out. Sure, of course.
All right. What's interesting is it seems like there's a group of bishops that are fighting Pope Francis right now. Abysmal.
Wait,
What's that?
Vizmo, do you have any more on this?
Yeah, one
they're
second, I'm
fighting
there's-
Pope Francis.
More gay. I want to see more gay.
trying to find it.
Fuck.
More gay, dude.
But
Post the video with him and his
Grudgin just
boyfriend.
wants to take more black pills. Bismo, do you have like a white shell?
Car crashes.
Like he did say like there are like clergy fighting Pope Francis. They're Francis phobic. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Pope Francis did come out that one time, and he said the F slur. I think in what Italian during like a
He
fucking
said it twice.
yeah. He said it twice. He doubled down.
It's not even just that he is gay. It's more that the philosophy and gibberish that's coming out of his mouth that's anti-God, Bible, and heaven.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he's
liberal
doing like theological mental gymnastics from like a
Spirit.
gay perspective.
They're never based gays. That's the
Pope
annoying.
Francis
What
has
about
taken
that?
a very different...
Like if he was like me and spoke like me, but he was a complete homo, I'd be like, okay, man, keep trucking, keep going. You know,
Are you guys
stay
ready?
strong, I guess.
Hey, Abismo, play it.
tone toward LGBT Catholics than previous popes have. From his famous comment, "Who am I to judge?" about gay priests, to his close public friendship with a gay man and his outspoken
papas.
support of legal protections for
Or your
same-sex
papa.
couples, Pope Francis has decisively shifted the Church's public tone away from condemnation and towards,
He kinda
in the
cute,
words of the
though.
Catechism, respect, compassion, and sensitivity. So let's take a look at how the Vatican's approach to LGBT Catholics has evolved over the last 50 years. Then we'll explore Pope Francis's most important words and actions for the LGBT community with Father James Martin. So, what makes Pope Francis's approach to LGBT issues different from past popes? In the past, a lot of emphasis was placed on doctrine and condemnation. Popes and other Catholics prioritize teaching that, quote, homosexual acts are intrinsically disordered, and that a, quote, homosexual inclination, while not inherently sinful, is, quote, objectively disordered. Francis's immediate predecessors, Benedict XVI and John Paul II, felt strongly that asserting this aspect of the Church's moral teaching was an effective and honest way to be respectful and compassionate. And that emphasis wasn't just abstract, it informed the Pope's actions. After Vatican II, conversations and theological arguments about homosexuality became more common. And that sparked a pushback from the Vatican, which responded by emphasizing doctrine. Under John Paul II, the Vatican's Doctrine Office cracked down on theologians like Philip Keane and Charlie Curran, who argued that there were some instances, like within committed same-sex relationships, where sex between two men or two women could be seen as morally acceptable, or at least not, quote, absolutely immoral. In Father Keane's case, the imprimatur, or the church approval, was removed from his book. In Curran's case, which involved him disagreeing with church doctrine on a number of issues, he was fired from the Catholic University of America. The Vatican also cracked down on people who were ministering pastorally to LGBT people, like Sister Janine Gramick, Father Robert Nugent, and Father John McNeil, because the Vatican was concerned that they weren't placing enough emphasis on doctrine. Even the US bishops were corrected by the Vatican's Doctrine Office while they were preparing a pastoral letter for parents of gay children. Cardinal Ratzinger, who was head of the Vatican's Doctrine Office at the time, had the bishops remove a paragraph encouraging priests to use the words gay and lesbian when struggle with same-sex attraction was the church-approved line, and he added a footnote describing homosexuality as objectively disordered. As the head of the Vatican's Doctrine Office, it makes sense that Ratzinger, the future Pope Benedict XVI, would emphasize this part of the Catechism's teaching. But at times, that seemed to come at the expense of the very next line of Catholic teaching on the matter, that gay and lesbian people, quote, must be accepted with respect, compassion, and sensitivity. Every sign of unjust discrimination in their regard should be avoided. In 1992, Cardinal Ratzinger would send a letter to the US bishops supporting legal discrimination against same-sex couples in certain areas, including banning same-sex couples from adopting children, refusing to hire them as teachers and coaches, and banning them from serving in the military, a ban that remained in place in the US until 2011. Benedict and John Paul II saw gay marriage as a policy that would undermine the family structure based on a marriage between a man and a woman. For this reason, they would often speak of gay marriage in the same way that they spoke about other cultural evils like abortion, things that Benedict said in 2012 threatened the future of humanity itself. Although Pope Francis hasn't changed church teaching on marriage or approved of sex between gay couples, it's still easy to see how Pope Francis's more pastoral emphasis on respect, compassion, and sensitivity has marked a big shift in the Church's approach to LGBT people. In the rest of this video, we'll talk with Father James Martin about 5 big signs of that change, beginning with Pope Francis's famous words aboard the papal plane in 2013, quote, "If a person is gay and seeks God and has goodwill, who am I to judge?"
It was a real change in tone. I think those were his 5 most famous words of his pontificate. And they were directed first towards the question about a gay priest. What happens if you have a priest who's gay? And he said, if someone is following God in goodwill, I'm paraphrasing, who am I to judge? The next day someone said, did you mean that just about gay priests? He said, no, about all homosexuals. That's the word he usually uses. And it was a dramatic shift in tone from previous.
Might go back, Abismo, go back, right there, yeah.
It was a real change in tone. I think those were his 5 most famous words of his pontificate. And they were directed first towards the question about a gay priest. What happens if you have a priest who's gay? And he said, if someone is following God in goodwill, I'm paraphrasing, who am I to judge? The next day someone said,
That's
did you mean
crazy,
that just about
dude.
gay priests? He said, no, about all homosexuals. That's the word he usually uses. And it was a dramatic shift in tone from previous popes who usually used much more, I would say, condemnatory and accusatory language about LGBT people. And I think that was the beginning of the opening of the door in his pontificate.
And how did people react to it?
Do you see the gaslighting? How was it condemnatory to say that it's objectively disordered? I don't get it. That's the reality, right? We're literally saying homosexual behavior is not the same thing as heterosexual behavior, right? And you heard it from Kristoff Charamsa himself, right? He only understands celibacy in a way where it applies to heterosexual people and not to gay people. Because what? Because he says it's in my objective nature that I am a homosexual. That's what he says. So do you see this double standard that's happening? They're going to gaslight the rest of Catholic teaching in the way that we've been taught into saying that, oh, you're being homophobic and you're being condemnatory by using the church's language. At the same time, celibacy doesn't apply to us because we're gay.
Brutal.
This is... They all know this. They're literally, quote-unquote, sons of Satan, sons of Lucifer. They're literally lying to us. Look at this Catholic woman right here. She's so cooked. You know what I mean? Like, this is what happens when you're part of a cult. Look at her. When you ask me, like... Sorry, which part?
Go back to the thing where, like, Pope Francis was saying... He was asked about, what if you have a gay priest? Like, what are your thoughts on it? And then he paraphrased it towards, like, who am I to judge?
It was a real change in tone. I think those were his 5 most famous words of his pontificate. And they were directed first towards the question about a gay priest. What happens if you have a priest who's gay? And he said, if someone is following God in goodwill, I'm paraphrasing, who am I to judge? The next day someone said, did you mean that just about gay priests? He said, no, about all homosexuals. That's the word he usually uses.
That's crazy.
And it was a dramatic shift in tone from previous popes who usually used much more...
rebuking everybody.
And
it's crazy.
So just keep in mind, right? That's why we watch Father Charamsa first, right? And then now Pope Francis is saying that it's okay. This is the total context of like why he said, who am I to judge and all this stuff, and then how all the gay boys at the Vatican took what he said and they're just running with it.
Or I would say condemnatory and accusatory language about LGBT people. And I think that was the beginning of the opening of the door in his pontificate.
And how did people react to it?
They were delighted. I think a lot of people say, oh, he's not changed any teaching, which he's not. But he's really changed the conversation. And one of the ways to see that and to see the results is to talk to LGBTQ people and see what their reactions are. And many of them felt really welcomed. And they sensed a shift in tone themselves.
3 years after Who Am I to Judge, Pope Francis wrote a Morris Lay teaching, Joy of Love, a major apostolic exhortation on marriage and the family. And in it, he made very explicit that he wanted to prioritize caring for gay people pastorally. He wrote, quote, "We would like before all else to reaffirm that every person, regardless of sexual orientation, ought to be respected in his or her dignity and treated with consideration, while every sign of unjust discrimination is to be carefully avoided, particularly any form of aggression and violence."
Unlike many other documents in the Church which condemn LGBT people and talk about them almost exclusively in the language of sin, Amoris Laetitia said...
Yeah, Trez, why are you being so violent and aggressive towards gays?
if you actually take this to like if you stretch like the potential meaning of like what was just posted on there, that is like a way to prevent any way to basically the gays are here to stay. Like you can't get rid of them. It would be seen as like a sign of aggression that you should try to avoid.
Yeah, Trez, why are you advocating for aggression and violence against gays in the church?
You just need to get rid of the gay people, bro.
Trez, they want to get rid of you.
How do we take the Catholic Church back?
Before all else, we have to recognize their human dignity and treat them with respect. That's a big shift in tone as well. And I love that before all else, which, you know, in the West might not seem to be a big deal. People might think, oh, you know, so what? You know, they have human dignity. But in places like Sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, Eastern Europe, you know, to be told before all else we need to recognize the inherent dignity of the LGBTQ person, where that's often not done, is a big step forward.
Now, this might all seem a little abstract. The Pope is saying a lot of nice things about gay people, but does he actually do the kind of pastoral ministry and accompaniment of gay people that he's been advocating as Pope?
The music makes him sound nice.
Pope Francis has been friends with LGBTQ people since his time in Buenos Aires as Archbishop. When he was here in the United States in 2015, he met with Yayo Grassi, who's a gay man who was one of his students, and Yayo Grassi's same-sex partner. And that was done very publicly.
2015, before all the documents about gay blessing and gay stuff, like, or, you know, which is like literally happened in the past 3 years, right? In 2015, he meets with his former student who was a gay dude and who's his gay partner. The thing is this former student was in the seminary studying to be a priest. Am I making sense now?
Did you guys see the new quarters? I'm just gonna post it.
Recently, he's developed a friendship.
Yeah, there's a
with,
Mexican woman
Juan
on the
Carlos
back of the
Cruz,
quarter.
who I know is a
Who is
wonderful
that?
person. Juan Carlos had been a victim of abuse in Chile, and initially Pope Francis had kind of pushed back against some of the things Juan Carlos said, but that honesty led to this really deep relationship. And they see each other frequently, and he recently appointed Juan Carlos to a high-level papal commission on sex abuse. And so that would have been unthinkable 10 or 15 years ago, that an openly gay man would be publicly appointed to this very high-level commission is extraordinary.
Father Martin's...
Okay, and so just to keep in mind, right, what did we see from the John Jay College for Criminal Research? When we look at the graphs, it was a homosexual problem, right? There's more cases of an older man and a younger boy for all the cases of child sex abuse.
What a nightmare. Can you imagine? Ugh.
Right, and like the amount of glazing that Father Martin is doing about how like a progressive of a change it is for Pope Francis to put a layperson who's not only a layperson but also a homosexual man in charge of the Commission for Clergy Sex Abuse, when we know from the data that it was mostly a gay issue. Does this not strike you as kind of odd at all? Okay, am I crazy? Am I just like making shit up? Like,
The puppet is crazy. Like, it shows there's like 4 times more boy victims than like women, and then they's like, oh, it's not a gay issue. What the fuck?
Celia Cruz. They should have put a Selena on the back. I don't know who this lady is.
Spoke earlier about how what seems like a tepid support for LGBT people can come off as very progressive.
Like that's the thing. You have to watch out. Like even Catholic women are cooked. Like she's so oblivious, dude. She's nuts.
Conservative countries.
She needs
where
a Protestant
LGBT
man to
people
slap
might
her.
have fewer legal rights. One example of this is the Pope's support for civil union protections for same-sex couples.
It's a big step forward. I mean, he's kind of carved out a space for himself, which is that he does not accept the possibility of a sacramental marriage, for a same-sex couple within the church, but he supports, and he has said this ever since he's been in Buenos Aires, protections, legal protections for civil unions. And you're right, Colleen. I mean, in 70 countries, it's illegal to be LGBTQ. It's illegal to engage in same-sex activities.
You know
so
what?
For him to even say anything,
I'm not even for the tax benefits. The civil, like having civil units for tax benefits, I'm not for that at all, because married families make like the heterosexual marriages make families. Gay marriages, they don't make families, so they should not be rewarded through
We should be
like
taxing the
marriage.
homosexual.
Yeah. We shouldn't be subsidizing civil
is a big
unions.
step forward.
The last example of a gesture that the Pope has made to change the Church's tone on LGBT issues is his meeting with Father Martin in 2019.
This is
At that
good.
point, Father Martin had been focusing his ministry on LGBT people, and he had released 2 editions of his book, Building a Bridge. And even though he didn't advocate for a change in church teaching, he had faced quite a bit of criticism from people who thought he wasn't emphasizing doctrine enough. So it was a big deal when the Pope invited him for a highly publicized visit.
I was delighted, of course. It was a highlight of my life. And they put it on the Pope's official schedule. But something I can say now, because he subsequently wrote me a letter in support, was that the meeting was extremely positive. We talked about LGBTQ things. And at the end of the meeting, I've never really shared this before, I said, is there anything I can do for you? You know, because we were talking about LGBT stuff, and I thought, you know, maybe he wants to talk about something else. And he said, yes, you can continue your ministry in peace. And I thought, all right, you've just gotten a mission, which is something that really encourages me. But that meeting, I think, was one of many public signs that he has done as a way of teaching and as a way of showing his support, not only for LGBTQ people, but for those who ministered to them in the Catholic Church.
I asked Father Martin what we can tell about the Pope's approach to LGBT issues when we look at all of these gestures together. If you were to summarize what the movement that all of these little gestures come together to paint is, how would you describe it?
That's a great question. I would say openness. So rather than get away from us, it's come towards us. Again, his culture of encounter is really important. It's meeting people as they are, for who they are, in their sexuality and their gender identity.
Openness,
and being
like
open
a
to them,
gaping
listening
hole
to
that
them,
we could
which
all
is what
jump
Jesus
into.
did. And you know,
Let's
we're not
just
trying to be
normalize
like
homosexuality,
Jesus. What's the point?
everybody.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like
Thanks
to see
for
more
watching.
videos like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel by
Wait,
hitting
here,
that red
Bisma,
button.
go back to the last 10 seconds. Listen to this, Grudgin. Listen to this.
Again, his culture of encounter is really important. It's meeting people as they are, for who they are, in their sexuality and their gender identity, and being open to them and listening to them, which is what Jesus did. And you know, we're not trying to be like Jesus. What's the point?
Jesus didn't listen
Thanks
to
for
anybody.
watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting that red button.
Do you think Jesus
And
was
to
sitting
access
around
all of
just
our print,
listening to
audio, and
listening to
video content
Musa
and
rant
support
for
our
2
work,
hours?
please consider purchasing a
No,
digital subscription
he was
to
walking
American
right by
Magazine.
it.
You can do that at American.
Oh, Abismo, is this kindness, niceness, like, does it do good, like, at all to bring people into the Catholic Church? Like, is there any evidence that this brings, like, this, like, have we had someone say, like, oh, I really hated the Catholic Church, and then,
Chinese marketers showing the internet how it's done.
Wait,
Tony
what
from
is
LC
this?
Sign
Show me
has
how
gone
it's done.
viral for his hilarious social media.
we need to, like, you know, after watching that America Magazine video and the Jesuits and Father Martin, we need to recalibrate. So
What
I'm
is
just gonna
this?
throw this in
Not
here real quick.
interested. Now we are in the showroom of LC Sign Factory. Did you
I don't like the
know that
recounter. I like
Abraham
it to build up.
Encounter,
until
guys.
I
We're encountering
commit
the
a
gays.
felony.
Hold on. We're encountering the LGBTQ right now.
Lincoln was
alright, let's encounter
clear.
them.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Anyways, these signs come with a 3 to
That's crazy. Tony keeps getting better.
Oh.
Oh no.
Anyways, check it out.
How to dress for the female gaze.
Don't care.
I really don't know what's gotten into me recently.
Apparently, it's a lot of food. Anyways, watch me put it down like this.
Hey, Bestie. Bestie, we need to start a love train.
Not interested, sir.
Oh god.
Let's see what kind of gay TikTok thinks I am.
No, that's not.
Tony's first laugh. What's this?
White. Wipe it down. Wipe it. Anyways, this is a very human design. Infinity mirror letters.
I bet, like, probably over there in China, they must think the U.S. is like some kind of a fucking circus. Like, I guarantee you.
When I got
I
my
just saw an
cake pops
article
removed, I
recently of
specifically asked
Japan
my
getting
surgeon
invaded
to
with
leave the
migrants.
bag.
It's finally begun for them. Been waiting so long.
The going back to the video, Potato. What do you think?
All right, Bismo. Do we have any like records of anyone being like, man, dude, I thought the Catholic Church was mean, but they're actually being nice to me now. So I'm going to join. I'm going to join the church. Like, is there any evidence of like Pope Francis' pastoral decisions have been good for the church?
But is there any statistics on how many people join or how many people get like increased confirmations or any of that shit? Because maybe that's how the Vatican would spin it. Was like, well, the more pro LGBT we are, like the more people join the church.
Now, what I would say is like, well, what if like the people joining the Catholic Church are just like rad trads? You know what I'm saying?
The end of days.
Check this out, all right? So, again, Bishop McElroy, we went through a video, like a long-form video with him a couple nights ago, but I thought this is kind of like on the same thread, all right? Because Bishop McElroy, he's Cardinal McElroy now, and he's probably going to be the next pope, or he's a very high chance of becoming the next pope, just so you guys are aware.
I want to speak in favor of Cardinal Cupich's amendment for the reasons he stated, but also for an additional one. What has been added to this letter that was not in the previous forms is a statement I believe is at least discordant with the Pope's teaching, if not inconsistent. At the top of the second page of the letter, it says, the threat of abortion remains our preeminent priority because it directly attacks life itself. This is taken from the previous statement, but I believe it is not in keeping with that quote from the Holy Father. And this quote will be used, the preeminent quote, will be used to in fact undermine the point Pope Francis is making in that paragraph. So either we should get rid of preeminent, or if we're going to keep preeminent in there, let's at least give the Pope a fighting chance with his view to keep that whole paragraph in there, because that's where he articulates his vision of this very controversial question. This is the most important focal point of this letter, and it was just added today, and it totally changes the nature of the letter.
Yes.
Because it will allow people to use it to say, this does overcome all the other issues. It is not Catholic teaching that abortion is the preeminent issue that we face as a world in Catholic social teaching. It is not. For us to say that, particularly when we omit the Pope's articulation of this question, I think is a grave disservice to our people if we're trying to communicate to them what the magisterium teaches. So either we shouldn't have preeminent in there, or we should have the Pope's full paragraph where he lays out his vision of this very same question, delicately balancing all of it in the words he does.
Archbishop Strickland, followed by Archbishop Chaput.
I absolutely think preeminent needs to stay.
Archbishop Chaput.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Your Eminence. I'm certainly not against quoting the Holy Father's full statement. I think it's a beautiful statement. I believe it. But I am against anyone stating that our saying it's preeminent is contrary to the teaching of the Pope, because that isn't true. It sets an artificial battle between the Bishops' Conference of the United States and the Holy Father, which isn't true. So I don't like the argument Bishop McElroy used. It isn't true. You know, we do support the Holy Father completely. What he said is true.
But I think it has been very clearly the articulated opinion of the Bishops' Conference for many years that pro-life is still the preeminent issue. It doesn't mean the others aren't equal in dignity. It's just time in the certain circumstances of our church in the United States.
You getting applause? That's nice.
So there's a reason
That
why
is-
now you're getting. So go ahead.
So the first person was McElroy, right?
Yes.
What I was wondering there was like, what flipping issue is more important, and especially for flipping America, right? What's more important than like infanticide? You know what I'm saying? Abortion, you know?
So what I'm pointing out here is that there is a systematic attempt and lobby within the leadership of the church to try to disintegrate Catholic teaching. Not on just the homosexual issue, right? Where they try to spin, right, and mischaracterize the church teaching as being condemnatory, right? So whether it's on the gay issue about how we're going to approach homosexual, homosexual behavior, right? Or it's on whether or not we should say stuff like, yes, we believe, as a bishops' conference, that the right to life issue is the most preeminent issue that we're facing today. You have lobbies that are actively, like Bishop McElroy, right, in the clever way that he tries to garner support, right, there's a particular cleverness about it, right? They're having a semantic argument, right? This isn't the precise language that was used by the Holy Father, and if you don't use the Holy Father's precise language, then you're misrepresenting the magisterial teaching. Do you get it?
Wait,
now?
but
It's a gaslight.
What are they doing? Like, what is this document doing? Are they like rehashing like another document, or like, so what was this conference about?
Okay, so this conference happened like a while ago. Obviously, this was before they forced Strickland to resign. That's why he's still there. Okay, so
right.
So Pope Francis, I believe, I forgot, was it in Amoris Laetitia? So here's what happens. Like the Pope writes an encyclical, right? Then the Bishops' Conference, they have their own conference about how to apply the Pope's encyclical. That's what this conference was about. So the USCCB is trying to draft their own letter and come to terms about how they're going to implement the Pope's encyclical. That's what this conference is about. So they're arguing about what the statement from the USCCB should be. And the draft that they're talking about, McElroy he's objecting because he wants to remove the word that preeminent from the whole reference to the pro-life issue. He doesn't want it to read that it is the preeminent issue. Because what he's saying is that it puts the USCCB in direct contradiction to Pope Francis's own articulation.
Here's what I would probably say is like the Conference of Bishops. Their job is to see what the magisterium says and fit that with the diocese they manage. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So they can. I would say every single bishop there has the authority to like they point out an issue in the diocese. You know what I'm saying?
That's correct, and that's the draft that they came up with, and they're arguing against it, or they're arguing for, in this case, whether they should leave preeminent or not.
Yeah.
The point of this video is to show you, right, that there is an actual lobby of the quote-unquote thinkers, right? In McElroy's case, like, he became a bishop literally at the same time that Archbishop Cordileone became Archbishop of San Francisco. So he was made a bishop at the same time Cordileone became the Archbishop for San Francisco. San Francisco is a cardinal at sea. He still has not received a cardinal hat yet. So I know it's only a custom, right? Just because you're made Archbishop of a cardinal see, that doesn't mean you automatically become a cardinal. That's something that is a prerogative of the Pope, right? But having said that, McElroy he was made Bishop of San Diego, which is not a cardinal see, and he was literally made a cardinal like 2 or 3 years ago. That's my point. But he was made a bishop literally at the same time that Corleone became Archbishop of San Francisco.
Again, how quick did he go from, because there's 3 ranks of cardinals, right? Like bishop cardinal, priest cardinal, deacon cardinal, right?
Yes.
Abysmal.
Yes.
How
Yeah,
quick did he?
McElroy.
Whoa! How quick was it from like bishop to like bishop cardinal?
For
For
McElroy?
McElroy. Yeah.
10 years.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
And then the other guy,
spattering that.
is still a bishop.
Yeah. He's an archbishop.
Yeah. But the archbishop just means like bishop of metropolitan like,
Correct.
area, kinda.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
You guys really know your stuff. Look at you, huh?
Isn't McElroy like now the Archbishop in Washington?
Yeah, he was just assigned right.
DC.
Yep.
Archbishop of like Washington DC.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's gonna replace
Oh,
Wilton
man.
Gregory. The thing is I mean, he there's a high probability he's gonna be the next pope.
I thought this was supposed to be the last pope.
That pope prophecy is missing lines, and it's not really authoritative, anyways.